So tonight we have our first reader, who's Wayne Johnson, and he has been a stage and film actor, rock musician, ghostwriter, industrial engineer, and award-winning book designer as creative director for Source Books, Inc. In addition to a couple dozen other occupations, his writing has appeared in many places, including the Chicago Tribune, and his screenplays have won awards from Writer's Digest. His first novel, The Militarized Zone, What Did You Do in the Army, Grandpa, is available in print and ebook from Amazon and local libraries. He currently writes a bi-weekly humor column in The Voice newspaper. So please welcome Wayne. Thank you.
Hello, thank you all. The piece I'm going to read tonight, I had first written it for the Blues Muse or News Blues, with something last.
Blues be your muse.
Dog ate my shoes, what was that? Oh. Let the blues be your muse, yes. And it didn't quite fit the venue, so Anne suggested I gussy it up a bit and submit it another time. And here it is. Got me here. It has to do with the recording industry some years back, but I'll explain it all as we go through, so you'll see. It's called Music Man. Who does he think he is, this Mr. James Brown, telling me what will be a hit? Enough already. Red-faced Sid Nathan yanked the tape reels off the recorder and sent them sailing across the control room. I glanced at the recording engineer, Sonny Thompson, and then to the other four members of my musical group who stood around the engineering console. Sid, 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 I said to myself and shook my head. Sid Nathan, the man in the midst of the tantrum, was a balding, bespectacled president of King Records. He drove to the studio at 2131 South Michigan Avenue in his Cadillac Fleetwood with his perpetually loosened tie flopping across an impeccably wrinkled white shirt, ready to transact company business in his stocking feet. Sid was not so much a music aficionado as a business one. He could usually tell if something had commercial value, be it country and western or blues. In the 1940s, he founded King in Cincinnati to record and promote country music, but later switched to mostly R&B, that's rhythm and blues, and opened a studio and office in Chicago. In the old days, Chicago was big in the music business. Besides King, other record companies dotted Record Row on Michigan Avenue from 22nd Street north to Roosevelt Road. Chess Records was right across the street from King. The Chess brothers had signed artists such as John Lee Hooker, Muddy Waters, Etta James, Bo Diddley, and Chuck Berry. Although Sid had recognized and signed many successful musicians and groups himself, such as bluesman Sonny Thompson, the Dominoes, the Royals, the Swallows, the Platters, the Charms, etc., he had missed others. It sounded like cats yowling. Sid directed his statement to Sonny, now his A&R man, as one particular music group walked out the door. And whoever heard of a Mexican group that made money in this business in America? The group kept walking north 2 blocks to VJ, where they made a name for themselves and a fortune for VJ as Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Hey, you're good, but no offense. What can I do with a blind organ player? Sid said that to musician, singer, songwriter Ray Charles, who also went north to fame and fortune. Sid did manage to sign the famous barn dance favorite comedy duo of Homer and Jethro and soul singer James Brown, artists who kept him in Cadillacs. My own band, the Exports, had been signed to a 4-year contract with King, and through the efforts of Sonny, a friend of our rhythm guitarist. Sid had long been searching for a black artist who could cross over and capture the white teenage market, the same market Sid hoped the Exports would capture. James Brown did, and although having a pop instrumental in the top 10, the Exports didn't. Sid had a relatively low boiling point, and Homer delighted in playing tricks on him. His favorite was to sneak into the office and pour water on the floor under Sid's desk, where Sid's shoeless feet were sure to soak it up. Homer, you schmalky, drop dead, Sid would roar, while snickering Homer and Jethro pussyfooted down the hall. After many years of headbutting with Sid because of differences in musical direction, Homer and Jethro left King. Except for the exports, the company switched from recording pop and country music to R&B only. James Brown was now the lone one big moneymaker. During a trip to New York, James had visited RCA Studios where he recorded a new song. He sent the tape back to Sid, who took the tape into the studio and had Sonny set it up on the recorder. The machine whirred into motion, and the voice of James announced, "Listen to this, Sid, it's a hit." The only hit was the top of Sid's head on the soundproof ceiling as he launched into a scarlet-faced, tape-flinging tirade. A short while later, the phone rang in Sid's office. It was James Brown. "What'd you think of the tune?" "Listen, Mr. Schmarty Schwarzer, do I look like chopped liver? I'm president of this company, and I'll tell you what's a hit and what's not. And that's not. It's stupid. I hate it." "Well, Sid, RCA has offered to take it and buy out my contract." Probably because Sid remembered years earlier he'd called "Please, Please, Please" the worst piece of crap he'd ever heard. There was a moment of silence. "Sonny, Sonny," Sid called down the hall. "Play that tape again. Maybe I didn't listen too good." The song was cut into a master disc, pressed, and Papa's Got a Brand New Bag became James Brown's biggest hit, earning him his first Grammy. Possibly Sid's final and biggest oversight occurred while we were in town recording songs for an album. 5 scruffy, long-haired, raffish musicians dropped in the studio, accompanied by a man in a dark sport coat and tie. He and Sid went into Sid's office. It didn't take long for the man to return. "All right then, lads, let's go." They walked out the door and across the street to Chess. Sid entered the control booth. "So what'd they want?" asked Sonny. "Some English group looking for a small American label to release an album for them and make them popular like the Beatles." "Beatles? Whatever. Small?" Sid grumbled. "Well, who were they?" asked our lead guitar player. "You know, they had one song out and didn't even get as high on the charts as yours did." Sid turned and opened the door. "Well, who?" "The Rolling Stones." "They look more like something that rolled out from under a stone." He stomped away. Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones recorded their music at Chess Records, and in recognition of their session, named the blues-inspired last cut on side 2 of their first platinum-selling album, 12 by 5, 2120 South Michigan Avenue. Sorry, Sid. A double-deck parking garage and condos now occupy the block on Michigan Avenue where King Records stood. The company consolidated back to Cincinnati, where it slipped into oblivion along with the exports recording future. Sonny Thompson moved over to Chess Records at their new larger headquarters on 21st Street. Sonny, the godfather of soul, James Brown, and Homer and Jethro are gone. Apparently the Rolling Stones will go on forever, and Sid is gone. I sometimes visualize his disheveled form behind the big desk, his brow crinkled as he pores over the latest sales figures, dismayed by the fact that the record-buying public would spend so much money for something that was supposed to be music, but didn't even sound like it. Schlemiels. Just wanted to show you this. This was the exports. That's me right here. Unfortunately, all the other guys are deceased, and sometimes I'm not so sure about me. But in fact, most of the people that I talked about in this article are deceased. Even later we took this picture, the Mixfield terminal is deceased. So on that note, I think I'll sit down.